Hey everyone, it's Rich from Billitsman. Welcome to our next video. Today I'm going to talk from this perspective more of as a top collector rather than a top maker. For those of you that have been collecting tops for a while, you're going to be just like me, and you're going to completely understand when I bring up the scenario about people questioning you of why you collect tops. I've had this conversation, close to 100 times probably, from people who just don't understand why a grown man would play with what they consider a kid's toy. And the conversation, I could pretty much write it out. I know the questions they're going to ask before they even ask them, because I've had this conversation so many times, and it's just hard for them to understand. And to be honest with you, I get it. I understand why somebody has a hard time comprehending why somebody like me would play with tops. So that's kind of what this video is about. It's about, that conversation that I have with people that don't get it. So for me personally, you guys know my story. I started out making tops. I did a couple Kickstarters. And it started out more as a way for me to flex my design muscle and, just create things. I love creating things. And it was a perfect fit for me. But I did, fall in love with the art of spinning tops as time went on. I'm a math guy, science and stuff. All that stuff is really neat to me. I'm just fascinated by things. I want to know how things work. When I was a kid, I used to take things apart and put them back together. And so for me, one of the core things that I find just fascinating is that, when I put that top on there, it tips over. And when I spin that top, it doesn't. And that seems really simple. That's just a crazy thing to me. The fact that stays up, and I get the science behind it and everything. I apologize for my reflections here, the lights in the background. But anyways, that's fascinating to me. And the fact that this top here is the navigator, and the fact that thing will spin for 10 to 11 minutes, that fascinates me. And so I could just sit there and watch it. I use this analogy a lot, and it really seems fitting, is that when I talk to people who don't get it, I compare it to a campfire. What is it about a campfire? Hopefully everybody out there has sat around and watched a campfire or sat in front of a fireplace. There's something soothing, something calming, something relaxing about fire, as long as it's not your house burning down. There's just something that we're drawn to it. I have no idea what it is. I don't know if anybody knows what it is, but there's something about it that is calming. And, I know they got TVs someplace. I went into a lawyer's office and they had a fireplace. It was a TV that was playing a fire. I have Netflix at home, and they have a whole video that you can put on your TV for fire. And, so what is it about that? I don't know. But I can tell you, for me personally, you see if I can get this pattern here. This is of this trident. I watch that thing spin. Look at the colors and stuff that come out of there. There's something just mesmerizing about that for me, The fact that thing spins like that and it looks like that. What you're seeing on the camera is exactly what I'm seeing, in person here. And I'll tell you what happens is, I'll have a day at work where I got a little time, and I'll spin the top in front of me, and I will just sit there and I'll just look at it, and the next thing you know, like 5 minutes has gone past. That happens to me a little bit when I drive too. I'll go driving, and I know it's sad to say, but all of a sudden it's like I end up on 5 miles from where I was, and I just zoned out. Something about this triggers that. Something about spinning a top and watching it triggers that for me. And when I wake up or snap out of that, I don't know, I'm just a little bit more refreshed. That's what it is for me. Now, another aspect of it, that top there was one I made. This one here, my buddy Lance Barnett made. Beautiful top. This is made out of Damascus steel. You can see the different patterns there. And I look at a top like this and I say, how did he make this? I look at that. I do that with everything in life. When I run across something, I want to know how it was made, and so I look at it. Now I'm a machinist by trade, and I've got a lot of experience, and so I can look at things, and I know metal, and but it's fascinating to me. But I can tell you, I look at that steel, and I'm like, how in the world do you make that? I'm fascinated by that, just fascinated. So I like the artistry of it, the mechanics of it, the fact that I know darn well how hard it is to, let me zoom back out here, to get a top to spin stable. I know the tolerances that have to be held. This is a dynamic inertia top made by my buddy Gavin. That top spins dead true. I mean, it's perfect. And I know what it takes to make a top like that, and it's fascinating. So I can just appreciate the craftsmanship. People, I was big into collecting watches. Why would anybody need a watch these days? We all got our phones. It has the time. Well, it's because you have a piece of art that you wear on your wrist. You have a watch is made up of, springs and gears, and somehow that is able to measure time. That is fascinating to me, that something mechanical can measure time. Tops are like that for me. How on earth can you make a top that spins that smooth? And I know the answer to that. The watch thing still is a mystery to me. It's just crazy. But and I'm talking about automatic watches. They're not quartz, obviously. I like quartz watches too. But anyway, so yeah, it's just absolutely fascinating. The tops, they come in all different shapes and sizes, as you can see here. Here's one that'll blow your mind. This little mini top, this is made by Mitch Lum. This thing is absolutely crazy. It's tiny. I think this is 5/8 diameter. It's made of tungsten. Tungsten is really, really heavy, and so a lot of people have never encountered tungsten in life. There's just not many things made of tungsten. I know some wedding rings and stuff are now, but it's crazy heavy. It's just neat to hold and feel. The thing spins great, super easy to spin. That's something you can just throw in your pocket, spin it on anything. I mean, I got a lens here. Here's just a plastic sheet here. You can spin it on there. So if you're out at a restaurant or something, and you're just bored, you're waiting for a movie to start or whatever you're doing, you got a little time. It's just a nice thing to take your mind off things, make the time go by faster. And so there's still some people, I watch the YouTube videos. My buddy Jim makes these YouTube videos that are just amazing. And, I read some of the comments, and, I get it. But some people have it's almost like a deep-seated hatred for these things. Some people just are just that way. They're insecure about whatever they got going on or whatever, but there's no reason to hate on tops. If it's not for you, that's fine. I get it, but I'm just trying to share with you some of the reasons why I like them. I can tell you this, and I'm leery to even mention this. I have no scientific data for this. All I can go is by the testimonies of people who have been to my group. But we have a counselor that is a member of our group, and she does talks to a lot of people who have PTSD, and she sent many people to my group to get tops that have PTSD. What a horrible thing. And so I'm not making the claim that this has anything to do with PTSD or helps people relax or whatever. But I've had numerous testimonies in my group of people who do suffer from it, and it's helped them. And I just think that that's absolutely wonderful. And why? It just helps take your mind off of whatever you got going on. And so there's so many different facets, and a lot of people collect tops for many different reasons. Other than the ones that I've mentioned here, but. The nice thing about it is that there's so many new makers in the group recently, and in Pocket Top Talk and all the different maker groups, and so you can get tops that if you want to spend $30 on a top, you can spend $30 and try it out. That was a horrible spin. You can spend $30 and try it out, or you can go all the way up to a top like the Trident here. For this one was $220. They got a little bit of everything. For those of you whose wives maybe don't get it, it was funny because at the Blade Show I just had this conversation with the husband and wife, and the wife was really questioning this and the money that these things cost. And I asked her if she had any fine china, and she did. And she actually had an art collection as well. And I'm like, well, what good is that? What she was looking for the practical use of it. And I said, well, what good is that? She had no answer for it. She brought up the fact that some of that stuff will appreciate in value. And I said, well, I've never seen a top of mine sell for less than what somebody paid for it. There's all sorts of things. Listen, anything that people collect, it makes no sense, right? Why do you need more of one than anything just for collection purposes? There is no purpose. It's just something that we enjoy. And, it just brings some sort of happiness to us, on life's journey here. So anyway, we got all tops of all different shapes and sizes. We got these different cool things to spin them on. You got the different machining patterns, the different materials. That's something we really didn't even talk about. All the different crazy materials you can see on this dynamic inertia top. This is a Damascus top, folded material. I don't have a Damascus top out here right now, but it's crazy. You got tops that weigh a ton, like this little mini weighs as much as that whole top does because it's made of tungsten. And all the different types of ratios we use to make the tops that make them spin longer. It's just a fascinating thing once you get into it. So I guess my plea to you is that, if you're on the fence with tops, it doesn't have to be one of my tops. Just get one. Go into Pocket Top Talk, go into a group like that and just see. Pick up a top. Buy a cheap, you can get a cosmetic, this is not a cosmetic mirror, but you can get a cosmetic mirror from Walmart for $6. Pick up a top for $25-30 and just try this hobby out. I really urge you. If you want to know more about it, you can always, I invite you to come to our group, which is Billet Spin, and that's on Facebook. It's a whole community of people there. We got almost 4,000 people in that group now, and people who just love this. So if you're not sure, if you got questions, jump in that group. I'll approve you right away. Post up your questions, find out why these guys love spinning tops, and hopefully it'll pique your interest enough where you'll want to give it a try. So that's really all I got to say today. I really appreciate it. I know this video was long, and I really appreciate you going through and listening to me ramble for a while, but I just wanted to share this hobby that I love so much with you all. I hope you have an absolute fantastic day. It's pretty garbage out here. We got rain and all this, but it's another day we get to be alive. So anyways, have a good one. We'll see y'all.